high prices spell no demand problem for resurgent Uber and Lyft. Now, I can recall a short while back when Uber and Lyft CEOs said, acknowledging the prices are high, they will come down. Now, apparently, they are perfectly fine with this, dear rider, to keep these high prices, right? Because what they're seeing is that you're accepting these high prices, you're willing to pay them, and they're like, let's think about this. Let's keep these prices ultra high, complete change of, of the original press releases that they put out there, trying to win you over, saying, the prices will come down. They're okay with it right now. But although they're charging these supersonic high prices from you, dear rider, the driver is not getting more, right? So this is basically welcome to the new Uber and Lyft. Uber and Lyft are emerging from the pandemic as leaner, lower-cost companies with a long, elusive operating profit and the unexpected power to raise prices without alienating riders. At first, they said, their prices will alienate riders. Now they found out, riders are prepared to pay these prices, so let's keep them high. Ride-hail fares have surged to unprecedented levels this year due to a driver shortage, much to the company's delight. Riders so far appear undeterred, flocking back to the platforms in ever greater numbers. Now, you could also think that they put out this press release to cover their ass, right? To make it sound like, you know what? It's okay. It's fine. You guys are paying it, so let's keep on charging these high prices. I think there is generally more pricing power than anyone ever realized existed in the industry. This is a complete turn of events here, right? Because what they said is they would bring it down. But this guy here, Lyft Chief Financial Officer Brian Roberts, he said this, right? I think there's generally more pricing power than anyone ever realized existed in the industry. On Thursday, Uber Technologies Chief Executive Dara Khosrowshahi called the current environment a giant pricing experiment. Okay, well, now you know what? We saw how low we can go with drivers. What's the lowest threshold we can, pay drivers? Tested that, right? Rock bottom. And on the other side, let's see how high we can push up the prices for riders. This is not what they have been preaching to riders and drivers. They promised drivers more money. They promised riders prices would come down. So you're trash, Dara. You're absolutely trash. You lie to your riders. You lie to your drivers. The shift marks a significant turning point for the former startups, which for years sacrificed profitability to add customers, undercutting each other with consumer discounts and driver bonuses. According to analysis by Yipit Data, which tracks email receipts, average per mile U.S. ride-hail charges in the third quarter were nearly 25% higher than in the comparable period 2019. There it is, right? For airport trips, which rank among Uber and Lyft's most profitable routes, because they've dropped the rates down to 30-something percent per mile, for example, at LAX. They're not paying the drivers. So they literally, screwing over the drivers, and they're charging the riders 2 to 3 times the rate at these airports, right? Uber's and Lyft's most profitable routes, these airport trips, price increases were even steeper. The average fare for a trip from Chicago's O'Hare Airport jumped nearly 50% in the third quarter compared to 2019, according to a Reuters analysis of city data. Right? Ride-hail trips to Chicago are still far down, though. Now, higher prices benefit the companies, which take a percentage cut from each ride. They also have resulted in record earnings for drivers. That is not true. That is simply not true, right? They've also resulted in record earnings for drivers who also benefited from a massive driver incentives paid by Uber and Lyft to lure them back. Those are complete bait and switch sign-up bonuses. So this is not accurate what this person is reporting here. Uber drivers and food couriers in the third quarter earned $8.6 billion, 60% more than the year prior, with driver pay growth outpacing that of gross bookings, Uber said Thursday. While total driver supply remains below pre-pandemic levels, the company said that they were confident more drivers would return without additional incentives, right? So We don't have to give additional incentives. It's what they're saying. They will return. There it is right there. While total driver supply remains below pre-pandemic levels, the company said they were confident. Listen to this. More drivers would return without additional incentives. That says it all. That says it all. The company said they were confident more drivers would return without additional incentives. We don't have to give additional incentives. They will still come, right? They said they would taper off additional driver bonuses in the coming months. Lyft's Roberts said the company would fund driver incentives during particularly busy times through elevated consumer prices. We will likely see elevated prices for some time, particularly given the inflationary environment we are experiencing now, said Michael Ersted, analyst at research firm M Science. Uber's delivery business, which emerged as a backbone during the pandemic, has also avoided a post-pandemic letdown. Uber on Thursday reported stable delivery bookings even as more people resumed going out. Its core restaurant delivery business, Eats, even reported its first operating profit driven by better cost management and fewer consumer discounts, Uber said. Higher prices combined with more efficient budgeting could boost margins in the coming year. Both companies made drastic cuts during the pandemic to reduce their overall cost base. Those efficiencies, particularly in variable costs, will show as demand scales back up, the company said. But as inflationary concerns rise, the ridership levels remain some 35% below pre-pandemic levels. Uber and Lyft need to strike a balance between price increase and consumer loyalty. There will always be a ride at today's price point, which might be a faster pickup, Lyft President John Zimmer said in a Reuters interview. But it's really about finding the right ride for the right customer at the right time, he said, adding that consumers wanting a cheaper ride might have to wait longer. There we go. You got it, right? So a lot of promises made to riders, promises broken. A lot of promises made to drivers, promises broken. You can see how they operate, right? And they said in the coming months, your incentives, your bonuses are fading away. Have a good one.